So, you want to know the Halloween origins, huh? You want to know about the origin of the Halloween? Well, it's to ward off evil spirits. I'd like to ward off real life. Then I had heard there's the candy corn thing. It used to be called chicken feed. Something to crow about was their slogan. Imagine that. Candy corn used to just be chicken feed. Well, anyway. I mean, artificial chicken feed as candy. It was always candy. Or how about bobbing for apples, where it was like, the name of the potential BFs would be on the apples, or you're bobbing for the right suitor, or whatever. Pretty interesting there. Anyway, stay tuned for some scary make believe and some movie reactions.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Home video headlines. Let's see what's happening in the world of TV and movies. Mark Hamill, who voiced Skippy in Regular Show, is coming back for the Regular Show revival. Regular Show actually did a bunch of silly, scary Halloween, weirdo episodes, and it's a great show. So it's about a park and recs team at a park, but the boss is a gumball machine. Mordecai and Rigby, so it's was he a raccoon? He might have been a raccoon hedgehog type thing, and then the other guy was a bird, right? And then Skips is a gorilla, right? Anyway, there's a bunch of odd characters. They live in an odd world, but there's a lot of pop culture references, and was a pretty, for a cartoon. It's like a well written show, but again, kind of weird. It was at the peak of Cartoon Network. Let's see. Oh, Marvel is planning on doing an Oscar run campaign for Hugh Jackman. Oh, he was in this thing called Bad Education, which was really good. I think that was as far as I can tell, one of his best dramas. What else do I like him in? Man, he was great in Eddie the Eagle. So there's a couple movies he's done with super dramatic performances that he should have been recognized for, wasn't. And then, Marvel's pushing for Deadpool and Wolverine for playing a dramatic Wolverine. I don't know if it's the right movie, but if he gets an Oscar, good on him. The Jackman. The RoboCop series is moving to Amazon. They got James Wan supposedly attached to it. I'm all for RoboCop. Did you ever see the Canadian miniseries? That was pretty good. It was a cable miniseries. It had maybe 4 or 5 made-for-TV movies. I think there was also briefly an American RoboCop TV show, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I am. Hit me in the comments, whatever. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm here for it. I'm here for some new RoboCop. Well, yeah. I mean, he's like a comic book ideal of what a cop should be. Not necessarily what they are, but what they should be. I'm not gonna wax political. I'm not gonna say which side of the blue line I'm on. I'm just gonna say RoboCop is I don't know, a good guy trapped in a cybernetic body. He's armored. It's like a cop with armor. Anyway, have you guys seen RoboCop? If not, go look it up. It's like a gritty 1980s action sci-fi. There was just a documentary out about it recently. It's multi-part documentary series. So if you're into behind the scenes stuff and you like RoboCop, take a look at that. Which one of the movies do I like the best? Probably RoboCop 2. There's an evil, well, not an evil RoboCop, because there's a bad RoboCop in the Canadian miniseries that I already mentioned, but he goes against another cybernetic organism in that one named Kane. And anyway, I digress. This whole episode's not going to be RoboCop. Let's see. Chris Christopherson, unfortunately, he passed away. You might know his song Monday Morning Coming Down, or he was a member of the Highwaymen, which is an outlaw country group. But here's some movies that I like him in: Big Top Pee-wee, Millennium, and the Blade trilogy. Also, he was Billy the Kid in Pat and Garrett and Billy the Kid. So that was pretty good. John Amos also passed away. He played Cleo McDowell in Coming to America, which is like, if you don't know John Amos as an actor, then like the perfect thing to watch him in is probably Coming to America. He's great in that part. Probably the best thing that I've seen him do. But he goes way back. He's again one of these storied guys that, just like Chris Christopherson, has a career in like the late, 60s or the 70s. Is heavily active in the 80s through the 90s. He was in some stuff here recently, and of course, he's in the sequel to Coming to America as one of the supporting characters. AMC Fear Fest is in full swing. They're doing like themed days. They got a day for like the Nightmare movies, a day for some John Carpenter movies, a day for the Friday the 13th movies. So I thought that was pretty fascinating how they're doing their lineup this year for Fear Fest. All right. What's the movie of the week? Tonight's movie, Cheerleader Camp from 1988. Somebody's killing cheerleaders at a cheerleader camp. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh, you want some trivia? The only thing they really need to know about this movie is Leif Garrett, the rocker, plays horny beef number one. That's what I call him. He's like the horny boyfriend number one, right? He doesn't know which cheerleader he's going to end up with, and it's probably not going to be the main girl, the final girl. Oh, and then some of his albums and some of his music is in the movie. This movie's on a lot of lists of like faves from the 80s slashers, so if you're looking for one more thing, here it is. All right, I'll be right back with my favorite bits from Cheerleader Camp right after these messages. Use our AF code. It's in the link, it's in the show notes, it's on our website. You get 7 days free of horror movies on Paramount Plus during what they're calling their peak screaming season. That's right, since it's Halloween season, it's pumpkin spice season, it's scary movie season, spooky TV season. Anyway, Paramount Plus has a lot of stuff for you to do. Grab our link, try it free for 7 days. Now back to the show, already in progress with our favorite bits from Cheerleader Camp. I like the music. I like how the title kicks in. This definitely creates a vibe. The cheer routines are awful. I mean, they seem to be intentionally awful, so that's one of my favorite bits. The mascot etiquette training scene was pretty amusing. Like, that's an unexpected scene. You don't think they're going to have a separate class to teach the mascots for the cheerleaders how to behave like mascots and to teach them so-called manners as mascots, how to eat and act or whatever. That was pretty interesting. It is a little bit nightmare-esque. It has kind of a Freddy style to all the nightmares that are included in the movie. The main girl, she keeps dreaming about the killer, and she keeps having these scenarios where she gets attacked in her dreams. But again, that feels like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? A lot of dream sequences in the opening. Let's see. Huh. The cheers are ridiculous. So at one point, they're trying to like insult the cheer captain. So one of the girls goes, "I'll drop dead if you've ever tried head." And another great line from the movie, "Dee Dee, it'll be okay. Mad Dog's here." That's the sheriff talking to the cheer coach about, uh, you know, supporting them or whatever during the investigation to find out who's killing all the cheerleaders. It's appropriately sleazy. Obviously, it's intentional, but it also, in that era of movies, this is the kind of stuff you were getting. It's kind of like a Porky's movie, but with murder. And then there's some carton milk drinking, which I had to pause the movie at this point and think about, what do I think about carton drinkers? And so my question to you is, are you a carton drinker? I mean, that's community milk. So you just don't drink out of a community carton. And the only other favorite bit that I would talk about is how the killer sets up the main girl. So, spoiler alert, killer sets up the main girl to take the rap for all the killings at the end of the movie in an interesting way. Like, she's pretty much convinced the main girl that she did everything because she has like a psychotic break. Also, there is a hint on who the killer is in the very beginning of the movie. It's obviously one of the girls at the cheerleader camp, but there's an interesting way involving the cheer school leader, whatever, like the cheer trainer says something, and that's your tip off. So pay attention to that if you're going to pay attention at all. I don't know if you're going to watch this movie because that brings us to our ratings. Binge now, binge later, binge never. Like, where do you land with a movie like this? Honestly, I didn't even think I was going to get a whole show out of this one. That's why I'm trying to back it up with my staff picks and some of the other things that I'm talking about because I don't know. I can't talk about it for 20 minutes. It's not worth 20 minutes. It's really interesting that like a lot of people list it so high on a 80s slasher horror movie list. This is one I'd spent a while trying to get around to. Finally saw it this year. Haven't managed to not see it for 25 years or whatever, but finally saw it. I'm really disappointed. I don't like it. It wasn't fun. I seem to have wasted 88 minutes of my life. So how do I rate it? We do binge now, binge later, binge never, which are, speak for themselves and are kind of obvious, right? Get to it now, watch it later, don't watch it at all. Um, it's a binge never. I'd like to have the time back. I'd rather have watched something else. Um, Staff picks. If we're not watching the movie of the week, what else can we recommend to get that taste out of your mouth, huh? Um, so highlights from Fear Fest this year. They got a creature feature marathon coming up. That seems pretty interesting. They're doing like they have one day coming up for the Mike Myers Halloween movies, and they're starting with Halloween 4, which I recommend, and they're stopping with Halloween 6. But in between, they're going to have the Rob Zombie sequels. They're going to have H2O and some of the original Halloweens, and that's a great lineup. Starting with 4, ending with 6, in the original continuity. That's pretty awesome. Oh, they even have a Stephen King day. So I'm kind of seriously wrapped up in AMC Fear Fest. I do it every year. I watch it as a kid. I tune into their lineup every year to see what they're going to do. I think it's interesting that they've done these thematic days this year just to keep it interesting. If you have seen some of these classics, how to watch them. And so you have a good afternoon, like get the popcorn, get the snacks. So the Mike Myers Halloween movies, that'll be on Halloween itself, actually on the 31st. And then you can get the full lineup. I put the whole list on our blog, so you can get everything that they're doing for AMC Fear Fest 2024. And let's see. Oh, they're dropping the new Salem's Lot. We were talking about this vampire movie a while back. That is a Stephen King story, actually. They made it into a couple movies, and there's like a made-for-TV sequel or cable TV sequel, which I like, Return to Salem's Lot. But the new one is actually going straight to Max, so you can take a look at that. We'll do a follow-up on it because I haven't had time to watch it yet. I did watch one of the Harry Potter sequels. I watched Prisoner of Azkaban. It has a werewolf in it, and I was thinking if there's a perfect season to watch the Harry Potter movies, it has to be Halloween time. That's one of the best ones. I can just tell you which ones are my favorites of those movies. Number 3, that's Prisoners of Azkaban. Then you skip over to number 6, Half Blood Prince. Then of course you have the Deathly Hollows, which are like parts what 7 and 8, right? Or it's like part 7, but broken into 2 halves, right? So there's 8 movies total. Even though that one's considered a 2-parter, whatever. I watched this ridiculous thing. So Screambox is kicking out a bunch of movies. That's obviously the Cineverse group of movies and shows and streamers. And anyway, they're Crackcoon. So it's like crack rock plus a raccoon, you know. But I really wanted to like this one too. So again, this has just been a week of watching disappointment. So it's like I was excited to see Cheerleader Camp. I had seen the poster for Crackcoon, the Crack Raccoon horror movie, which is kind of like a parody of Cocaine Bear. And then I'd gotten an email from the Screenbox people, and I was like, "Oh, do you have a screener for this? Let me take a look at it." And they're promoting it pretty heavily. Cineverse is like promoting this Crackcoon movie to everyone. I mean, the poster's awesome. It's got the bloody raccoon on the front, looks rabid, whatever. Um, Man, it seems like they tried to make it bad on purpose, but it's just not working. And like the acting's pretty basic, and overall, like even the way they kill the creature is just super lame. So again, if we're going by my strict, brutal, and honest rating of binge now, binge later, binge never, it's a binge never. It's one of my least favorite things they've dropped on Streambox, but that's all I can say about that. So, but not like the raccoon people are gonna care. I don't know if PETA's going to care. I don't know if the horror movie maker is going to care. Cineverse probably isn't going to care. I just wonder if I'm going to get myself like kicked off like somebody's, screener list or something. Which is funny about the screener that they got is because the name of the company is like labeled, like not even like watermarked. It's just like never leaves the screen. I'm like, oh, they're really concerned that somebody's going to steal this crack raccoon movie. All right. Oh, nice. So according to my notes, next week we're going to be dropping into the Lurking Fear. I actually do like that one. That'll be a real fun ride. Talk about the Lurking Fear. And then I'm going to do some coverage, I think, of the Salem Lot movie too. I think I'll go back and look at the other Salem Lots that I like and I'll drive with that and tell you all about it. You know what? You can't stay here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.